Hey, thank you for putting that up again. Wait, I don't know if you put it up before, Karen, but I had I cried when I watched it, and I'm sure you know why. Um, I cried for 4 days in a motel room in Reno, Nevada, and Dolores mentioned something about what it was like to experience being loved at that level, because you don't ever want to leave that, right? Um, and this is particularly true, like when you think of the expansion of consciousness and going in and out, because that's how I experience it. Right, every time that you complete a magnetic circuit, that's the circle of light, the breath in and out. So I'm experiencing what love is every time that you're breathing in and out. Right, so you're always home. Right, like when I lit myself on fire and had a full faucet ignition, I'm going, okay, I never left. I never left. So it's much in the same way that Dolores described it when she said, go out and experience, right? And she mentioned something that was really unbelievable. But I was a small child long before I ever met Dolores Cannon. I didn't meet her till, and that wasn't even until online. But ironically, she lived in Huntsville, which is in Arkansas, which is near where I lived in Fayetteville when I was going to school at the University of Arkansas. But she mentioned that you're on fire. Well, she didn't say on fire to learn. I mentioned that I was on fire to learn. It doesn't matter. It just, it's the alphabet soup of the language based on the experience of what we're experiencing. We describe and use in the language you loaded into RAM. But I always remember as a child I was on fire to learn. Plug into this little kid. He's hyper because I was hypersensitive. And so I realized when she talked about you're the author, and I've used these same words just like she has. You can tie it right into page 400 if you start there in the third edition of Big Books of Alcoholics Anonymous. You can hear Dolores Cannon in those pages, believe it or not, about being the writer of the play. You're the writer, you're the director, the film director. In other words, you're writing your own story. So I mentioned this before when I had a full faucet ignition. I wrote my own timeline. I chose to experience all these things. Okay? I needed to experience all those things, not just because of the job that I was doing, but the record that you leave, right? Of being in what we all now know why we're here. And she mentioned in different waves. I came in the first wave, which is, I don't know that there was another wave. I don't remember there was another wave before that. And the way that I sort of measure that is by knowing the history that's held in record of how fast things are changing in one direction or the other, and why, like, for example, Max Spears mentioned they were anticipating our arrival. So they were tracking us as we're coming in here, but they can't track stealth code guardians that are doing work on behalf of the one, right? Which is a polarity integrator. That means I'm always at home. I'm always experiencing the one, which love is, it goes on forever, right? She did a beautiful job of sharing how all of this sort of unfolds to realize we're all on our own journey, and it's a learning journey. And because from a polarity integrator's point of view, it's easy for me to be able to share what I've explained about what it means to be one with all creation we're gifting love to, and having integrated yourself into the whole, so that you realize there isn't any separation from the single point from which it all began, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting us love. Because that's what I experience in me, so I share it with others. So now you begin to realize what it's like that everything you are, what I am, that it began with. And that's basic logic. But that doesn't mean that that's what they experience, because they're on their journey. So when you think of the way she described when God said, go out and learn, and then bring back the information, if you will, of what you've learned, and that becomes the record. That becomes the record, if you will, of the multiverse, the cosmos. And so I've always shared with others how fast is the cosmos learning through the one by everybody that is in the all creation. What we're all experiencing being together. So their goal, because I realized this before I came in here, is to separate us from that. Now, if you go to the guy's video that was up there for a very short period of time with the graphene oxide about separating what? The mother arc of the proton with the electron, the atomic body, right? To collapse your immune system, the atomic structure, right? When you get an electron, protons, and neutrons, right? The windows of the soul, the windows, the neutron windows, the no charge, right? So now you're not experiencing any electromagnetic radiation. You're with the one, direct current, the hottest light, the most powerful love to experience through your heart and your soul, right? That's what it means to be one. Now you're one with one. That's the law of one. So now you go out every time we breathe to experience another completion of the circuit. What am I experiencing now? I'm experiencing what love is. So you're always with the one. The one is always there. And that's why I've always shared, if you're needing to get information through a cell phone and all the rest of it, the one has all the information. Okay? And that's what Dolores is trying to tell everyone. If you want an answer on what's going on, then who do you think is running at the highest rate of speed that is recording what's going on? That's Cosmina. That's Cosmina Records. The ones they can't edit and destroy. I know. I know. And so the guy that put that video up about how they wanted to separate the proton, the mother from the father electric, right? And collapse it, right? Which is collapse the immune system. And not just the immune system, okay, in you or me, but in everything that represents a living organism. Because they don't experience God. They don't experience eternal love. They don't have a connection. So you realize how that happens. So you know it began with the one, and then you have artificial intelligence, which is artificial dead light. Okay, so that's no different than a tree that gets cut down, and now all it's doing is absorbing, right, and evaporating. Absorbing and evaporating, which is transpiration, right? Because it's dead. The spirit left the body. The living spirit left the living body. Went dead. Dead light. Dead magnets. That's artificial light. Spirit's gone. Where'd the spirit go? Right? Another vehicle. Right? Consciousness, spiritual energy, spiritual form. So when you're experiencing what love is in spirit, and you're in that light, which is what love is, integrated with your soul, then that's not binary. That's trinary. And that's the relationship between 1 and 3 and 3 and 1. And it was cool the way that she dittos the way I experience what it is that I am, an energy, when she talked about, I want to go experience everything there is to experience. And the reason for that is slow down. You got forever in which to do that. But you're so excited, because you're so excited, being what you are in energy, which is what love is, you want to experience all of it. Because you realize that you're vibrating so fast, you want to experience everything there is to experience from which we can learn. Now you're learning at the highest accelerated rate of speed when you're with the one. So the one loves you because you love to learn through the one. So you're getting the information through the one. That's the ultimate source, as Dolores said, of knowledge, which is spiritual knowledge, which is spiritual truth. Because spiritual truth is what love is. And it never stops gifting electrons. That's the highest accelerator. That's the first accelerator. That's the first cosmic sun. That's right. So thank you for putting that up there. It reminded me, and I had another cry. And so yeah, the entire cosmos I always thought was one big classroom. When I was a kid growing up, I go, the feedback is the informer, which is the teacher. How fast are we learning? to experience being what love is, being a beloved, being one with all creation we're gifting love to. So I've described this in many videos that I did cross-index on different times about what it means to experience being loved forever, right? And then experiencing a cosmos that is in love with itself. So that means that everything I am is what you are, which means you're experiencing what love is the same as I am. So imagine that you live in a cosmos where nobody's experiencing anything less than the one, because everything is integrated. That means we're all experiencing what love is. Now imagine this expansion and the acceleration of learning to get rid of what doesn't serve us. That means that things that don't serve us are going to be lost and be obsolete in memory, which means that's like past history, like a long time ago, because I've experienced this, where the universe has moved on at such a high rate of speed to eliminate anything that represents weapons and war. Because the universe has decided, as Terence said, is moving at such a high rate of speed, and even, what's his name, Harameen mentioned that the nodes, the networks, the consciousness is moving at a high rate of speed, that they're eliminating everything that isn't served what love is, because that's what the law is. So what ends up happening, if you want to think of this nodes in a network or software development, it means that the software that had been developed is becoming so obsolete at such a high rate of speed that those that were, if you will, think of as seeded races that are still at war in their mirror against the one will become obsolete. Just like how did we used to say that? It's just like a fleeting memory. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. Okay? Now, I know for some this is going to be hard to accept, but I'm already there. I've already experienced that, to know that. Or I wouldn't be sharing it with you. I know. It's like the universe, the cosmos, woke up. And the speed at which consciousness itself is getting the message, and as a result of that, their awareness is growing at a higher rate of speed. And one of the ways in which you can know this is what was created when the hybrid, the indigos, came into being. Because all you have to do is ask yourself the most common question: who created the indigos, and why did they create the indigos? What was the objective in that? Speed. Speed of learning. Which means the cosmos, the universe, is finally getting its act together. Remember, Terence? To get rid of what doesn't serve us, which means what we're holding in memory, we're getting rid of what we're holding in memory, because we no longer want to be a part of what war is. And when that speed begins to accelerate at a higher and higher rate of speed, then everything that was once held in memory that represents what war is such a distant memory by all the units of consciousness that represent a formation of consciousness. It began with a one. Don't remember war anymore. Nobody's going to war anymore. Because everybody's experiencing what love is. That's what the law is. Thanks for putting that up.